Your mom teach you that if you don't have anything nice to say, then shut the fuck up. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Batman Drew podcast, the podcast about life, fandom, and all the random shit in between. I am your host, the Batman Drew, Andrew Mills, and we have a full show for you today. It was Summer Game Fest this weekend, and actually it's still going on right now. I hope I don't miss anything that would be pretty prevalent to today's episode, but video games trailers galore over the last 2 or 3 days, and I want to be able to dive on into those things and go over and talk about what my thoughts were of the video games, see any comments, and hear your guys' thoughts on any of the video game trailers that dropped. But first, I do want to always, like every episode, start with some life updates, right? So last episode, you saw that we went to Fan Expo in Dallas, had an amazing time. While we were there, Scarlett got to do some interviews, and with I believe their Con Culture podcast, as I believe who did it, and on that she was showing off her Fiona from Shrek, and you know they posted the video, and there were a lot of really ridiculously unnecessary comments in the comment of the video about her specifically, about her cosplay, about just trash comments about my wife. And I've got to tell you that this week was a struggle for me, because personally I wanted to quite literally hunt every one of these fucking individuals down and in their subscription to life. Like, you're talking shit about my wife, you're talking shit about her art and her talent, and for what? Like, you hide behind some fake fucking profile picture on your TikTok or your Instagram or whatever. You know, look, I trying not to get worked up over this again, but I was furious. I was in Kansas City when Scarlett kind of told me about it, and look, with anybody, it affects you. Like, you hear these negative comments, and you know, like you have no way to be able to defend yourself. You have no way to be like, all you have to do is just sit there. All you can do is just sit there and dwell in it and listen to it and let it kind of, you know, feed in, and you have to battle it. And I'm so ridiculously proud of Scarlett for battling all those negative thoughts, because I know it certainly could have been easy, but honestly, it just led me down a very like frustrated rabbit hole with social media nowadays. And you know, it is one thing, like, we're going to talk about in the video game trailers today about some of the things I didn't like, in some of the video game trailers. We're going to talk about some of the things that I don't like about certain video game companies. But to target individuals who try to put themselves in a brave to put themselves on social media, someone like Scarlett, who was brave enough to say, hey, I'm going to show the world my art and what I created, because she was proud of it. And to be on social media like a fucking coward, hiding behind some fake profile pic on your TikTok or your Instagram or whatever, and thinking that it's okay to just be a complete fucking asshole with no consequences, I hope that you generally get what you deserve. Because here's the thing. First of all, you're a basement dwelling fucking cousin humper that is pathetic and miserable, and honestly doesn't deserve to breathe on this fucking earth. And I'm sorry, I am not against, or I am not for self-harm, I'm not for any of those things, but this is different. This is you going into the world and actively choosing to create hate, and to create bitterness, and to create you know, all the negativity that people battle with on a daily basis. And for what? What does it provide you? What good does it do for you? And as a husband, I gotta tell you, I was furious. And you know, it's funny because people think that they can hide behind the wall of social media. Like, no one's gonna know who they are. And in some cases, sure, that's the truth. But I will tell you this, that I truly believe that you get what you deserve. I think you reap what you sow. And at the end of the day, you're going to end your life miserable and alone, and there is no doubt in my mind about that. Even if you're surrounded by others, there's always going to be the self-doubt and insecurities that no one cares about you. And that's true, because you don't even fucking care about yourself. Like you genuinely need help. And if there's any way I can do that, if there's any way I can help provide help for you if you're one of these fucking assholes, the first thing I'll do is slap the fucking shit out of you. And then after that, I'll be more than happy to be able to help you in any way I can. But I gotta tell you, if for some crazy reason anyone watching this podcast was one of those individuals who had to make a comment about Scarlett and her cosplay, I would love for you to reach out. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to be able to have a conversation with you. But you won't, because you're a coward. Because you're a fucking miserable coward. And the funny thing is that I think that for a lot of these people who feel the need to make fun and mock others, it is certainly because of their insecurities about who they are themselves. Because none of them, not a single one, had any of their real information or profile pictures listed. No one could tell what they look like. No one could see who they were. And that tells me everything I need to know about who you are. So now that I've gotten off that little bit of a rant, I made the decision this week that I'm just tired of the negativity. I'm tired of all the shit people have to say. I'm tired of all the negative energy that people want to put out into the world. So I've just decided that moving forward, scrolling past something is just not good enough. Moving forward, if I see something that generally bothers me, that I feel is negative, that I think is cowardly, that I think that does nothing but to spread hate into this world, I'm going to block that user on social media. And I know that my one block of that person may not be able to change the world, but I am not going to continue to just watch their content come up. And we're talking about content creators. Like if you're someone who likes to comment on people's videos and be a shithole and hurt their feelings and try to be that person, fuck you. Like I'm blocking you on social media. If you're one of the influencers, right, who love to create content by going and fucking with retail workers or restaurant workers or just people in the public, fuck you, I'm blocking you, you're done off my social media. Like, if you're one of the content creators that feel the need to sit there and bash on individuals for what they love or what they do, it is perfectly okay to disagree with people. If they have certain political standards or religious standards, it is certainly okay to unfollow and stay away from their content. There's nothing wrong with that. You are allowed to disagree with people. But when people come on to these apps and social media, YouTube, whatever, and they want to share their hard work and their passion with the world, and you just decide to take a fucking big shit on it, like, fuck you. Like, it just absolutely, like, you're done off my social media feed. So I am determined to create more of a positive energy in this world. And for me, when that negativity starts seeping in, I start getting negative myself. And I start going down that dark hole that we all know about. And I'm just going to stay away from it. And so for social media, it is never going to stop. People are always going to be this way. And I get it. People have always been this way. The difference is that now they have a platform that they can feel like they can hide behind in order to be that way. Fuck you. Fuck you. And I genuinely hope that you live a long, miserable life. You fucking asshole. Now, there's another side of it. There were 3 or 4 times more people who gave love and support and positive comments to Scarlett's content. And for those people, I applaud you. Like, even if you don't believe the things you said, Scarlett was vulnerable and said, hey, I do cosplay for X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to tell you her interview. I want you to go watch it. I want you to go support. Go to Con Culture Podcast on TikTok, and you'll find her. Fiona Nerdy Princess Cosplay is Scarlett's handle. But for the people who gave nothing but love and support, you're the best. You are the absolute best. And so for everyone else who, even if you didn't like it, just scroll past it. You ain't got to sit there and be an asshole. You ain't got to say shit. It reminds me, these people who do talk the shit and stay behind their fake profiles. I'm a big and tall guy. You can tell on the camera I'm a big guy. I am 6'1". I have a very big demeanor about me. And what's funny is there's only been a couple of times this has happened, but you drive in and you get like into an altercation on the road, and you get some road rage from other people. And I've had it where people have just like yelled at me, cussed me out, told me to step out of my car. And it's funny because the moment that I do, and they realize that I'm twice their size, they leave. They're like, yeah, that's what I thought, fuck you, and they get back in the car and they drive off. I have no doubt in my mind that any of these individuals who do these things to people are just like those men with little man syndrome who yell in their big trucks and decide they want to try to intimidate people. That's stereotyping. Not everyone's like that, but you get what I'm saying. They're pathetic. And then again, for the ones who gave nothing but love and support, you're the best. Scarlett really appreciated the response that she got from the positive people. So, yeah, as a husband, just furious. And it makes me sad for the kind of world that Grayson's going to grow up in, and I think that something's got to change, right? Like, it's just too divided. It's too negative. And I don't know. I hope at the very minimum with my podcast and who I am that we can help bring back a little bit of common sense, that we can hold accountability for the assholes like the people in those comments, but most importantly that we can provide some just love and support and all the things positive to this world. That's what I genuinely hope for. So for, again, those individuals who gave nothing but love, thank you. She really, truly appreciated it. So, all right. Let's move on to the next part of our podcast, and that's talking about our fandom, right? So not much in the way of life updates. So we're going to hop into fandom because we got a shit ton to cover here. So fandom, Summer Game Fest is this weekend, and man, did we get some amazing video game trailers. I was honestly surprised by just how much we got in the way of good quality video games. And so I have a long laundry list here of video game trailers to be able to go through and kind of review. So let's dig in and let's jump right into these, right? So the first and foremost, the first one that I saw, and none of these games I knew were coming. And I'm a huge gamer, but I'm kind of a casual game fan when it comes to knowing like what's on the horizon. I know some of the big ones coming, like Grand Theft Auto 6. And there's one by Naughty Dog. I can't remember the name. I was just talking to Scarlett about it last night. That the new one by Naughty Dog, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. The trailer didn't look. I mean, it looked alright. But I am really deciding to play this game because it's a Naughty Dog game. In between Uncharted and Last of Us, I trust Naughty Dog. So, but there were a long list of games that I really thought were spectacular looking, and I want to be able to jump right into talking about those now. So first and foremost, Mind's Eye. It's the first game that I saw throughout the video game trailers that dropped this weekend, and I gotta tell you, this looked really fun. It was a very cool open world setting. I felt like it kind of had some, if you remember the movie AI with Will Smith, or iRobot? No, it's iRobot with Will Smith. I felt like it kind of had some of those vibes to it. The storyline, we didn't get much in the way of storyline in that trailer that dropped. Look, some of it was pretty stereotypical for those kind of video games, for that genre, but I thought the action sequences looked good. I thought that the graphics really looked good in it. And ultimately, I just feel like it's going to be a really fun campaign to play. I think that it obviously sets up in a futuristic world for us, and I think it has a lot of good qualities about it that's going to make it a very fun video game. That one drops here in like 2 days, so I have a work trip that I got to go to. Once I get back on that work trip, I'm downloading the game and starting it right away. So one that really kind of surprised me. I felt like I wasn't expecting for it. I wasn't ready for it. Was a video game called Atomic Hearts 2. Now, I didn't even know there was an Atomic Hearts 1. I actually didn't even know. I never even heard of the game. I looked it up. It came out in 2003, so about 2 years ago. And this game just looked bonkers. I mean, it looked crazy, and I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I thought the graphics especially were phenomenal. But ultimately the weirdness of the game really drew me. And I thought that just watching the trailer and kind of seeing like the I guess the half built humanoids and things like that, like I was caught off guard by how much fun it looked, and really, there were several things that I watching the trailer, they got me hooked immediately. A lot of things that I want to be able to I just want to be able to explore this world, right? I thought that it looked just absolutely bonkers with the graphic and the lore and the world that they're building. There were several questions that I had with it, like again, the weirdness of it drew me in. I want to know, like, why is this world set up the way it is? I want to know more about the lore of this world. Also, I felt like there was a lot of like I guess half-naked women roaming around in this world, and there was another game that kind of did that a little bit more in depth, but I don't know, like, this all seemed pretty weird and bonkers to me, and I am looking forward to seeing it, and to playing it. The next game was Echoes of the End. I had never heard of this game before, and this was one that I was probably the most excited about. It was a toss-up between this and another game. But watching the trailer, this gave God of War vibes to me. It gave kind of really strong, obviously, female antagonists there. I don't know the name of the character, but so it really felt like a mix of the character arcs that we got with, like, Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, in a world set with all the mythology of, like, a God of War. I thought this looked really great. I thought the graphics were phenomenal. The fight scenes and the action was really good. But more importantly, I want to know more about the lore. I want to know more about what's going on in this world. And this one really surprised me, kind of jumped off the map for me. So Echoes of the End is definitely one of my most anticipated games moving forward, for sure. The next one that I saw was a game, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Pragmata. This one was a futuristic survival game, looked like. The graphics on it I thought were really good. I believe Capcom is the maker of this game. And what was really, what was really cool about it was it kind of felt a little bit, like, I mean, you have kind of almost what will turn out to be like a father-daughter relationship, kind of like you got with The Last of Us, set in a very space-driven environment. And the only thing I didn't like about it was I didn't really care for the way the fight scenes looked in the game. They looked a little bit choppy and messy, but that also might be just because they're showing us kind of how how her powers work in the games and things like that, and then trying to get us kind of hooked. So I'm going to reserve my judgment on that moving forward. But if you haven't seen the trailer for Pragmata, this looks like it's going to be a fun video game to really dive into. Maybe one of the biggest announcement news over the weekend was the announcement of 007 First Light with the trailer. Now, I'm not a huge James Bond fan. I've seen some of the movies, but I will tell you that this trailer really gave a lot of lore and background to the James Bond character, and it also really looked like it has a very detailed storyline to it. I am a huge sucker for a good campaign. Like, I'm not a big online gamer. And truly, I believe that, like, a gamer like me, like, we live our life one campaign at a time. I'm going to dive all into this. I thought the action looked great. I thought the storyline looked great. And honestly, it gave me a little bit of a reminiscent feel of Uncharted. And so I'm really hyped for 007. Might just be missing Nathan Drake a little bit. That might be why I'm so excited for it. But I thought it looked really good. So now we're getting into some of the games that I thought were just... like, these are, like, I'm gonna pre-order. I'm counting down the days to these games come out. One of the ones that caught me off guard, and I may not be announcing this right, but Wu Chang, I believe, was the name of it. It looks like an action role-playing game. I obviously know nothing about the storyline, but I thought that the character designs really got me hooked, especially some of the fight sequences that we saw throughout the game. Very kind of samurai-ish, right? Like, and I'm not that big into that genre, but I will say I thought that the trailer did a good job of drawing you in with what could potentially be a very mythology-driven lore for this world. The scene that really got me hooked was where your main character seems to be fighting some warrior or whoever, and you're in this large open field covered in snow, and you're kind of walking in this circle against each other. And I thought that the graphics and I thought the design of the world and everything, I just looked like a really beautiful game. It may be garbage, but I think it's going to look really pretty, and I think it's going to be a fun time. Then you had Chronicles Medieval by a game developer called Raw Power Games. I'd never heard of them before, but I definitely want to check out some more of their work. This game gave me Gladiator meets Braveheart vibes. And as a kid, when I was growing up, my brother used to play a game called Genghis Khan on the Nintendo. And you go and you would conquer other worlds or other countries and stuff like that. At the end of this trailer, where you kind of see your main characters riding up on horseback, and you have your army, and you see you're getting ready to go into battle, because you can see like your stats of who you're going against and everything. You kind of come up over this hill, and you see the other army down there. For some reason, that hit like the nostalgic vibes for me, and I thought this was a really good game. The graphics looked incredible, and I think that ultimately, I think this is probably going to end up being the best of all the ones we saw. Not the one that I'm most excited about yet, but I think this one has real potential. So I failed to mention this when we talked about Atomic Hearts 2, but there's another game coming out called The Cube. Now, what these two games have in common is that they're both first-person shooter, and I am terrible at first-person shooter, to the point that I won't play them. I will not play a game if it's not third-person. I thought Atomic Hearts 2 looked fun, but I was a little bit on the fence on whether or not I wanted to play it, because I just don't do first-person. The Cube, being first-person, is going to make me break that streak of playing first-person games. I am going to play this game. It immediately caught my attention with the, I guess, social media post that the girl was doing with the doctor at the beginning. I thought the dialogue in that scene really turned out well, talking about, did the cube just arrive, or has it always been there and it finally revealed itself? I thought that some of the creatures looked weird and cool, and I think that ultimately, I think this is going to be a really fun game to play. Talked about a little bit about some of the character designs in a former game. I think I got a little bit confused on the two games because there was a lot of trailers. But yeah, in this game, there were so many half-naked women. I don't understand the purpose of it. Between individuals who were, I guess, like androids, wearing provocative clothing and things like that. I don't know who the developer of this game was, but you hit the mark on the nudity part of it, or half nudity. I don't know why. I don't really care for that kind of stuff in my video games. I mean, obviously Grand Theft Auto, if you play Grand Theft Auto, don't fucking lie. You picked up a hooker. Like we've all done it in Grand Theft Auto. You've spent way too much time in the strip club. We've all done it. But in this, I just didn't understand the why behind it. But aside from that, I just thought it looked really cool. Very intriguing premise. Like, what is the cube? Where did it come from? Like, what are these weird creatures coming from it? And yeah, I think that even though it being first person, I think that it looks like a lot of fun. I think I'm going to play it. I think I'm going to try it. Then you had the Deadpool VR. And I put this on here. The game itself looks alright. I was a big fan of the Deadpool game that came out, several years ago, if you remember that one. And I thought that this looked okay. I thought that it was, I thought, it looked fun. Kind of just a fun little time playing as Deadpool. But what really caught my attention was I saw the trailer that was Ryan Reynolds pretending to be Doogie Howser, Neil Patrick Harris's character from his first TV show, and then because I didn't know that Neil Patrick Harris was the voice of Deadpool, so diving on into Neil Patrick Harris talking about being dead, I thought it was a very clever little trailer for the game. So kudos to Ryan Reynolds for that. It looks okay. I don't have a VR headset, so I won't be playing this game. But I thought the marketing, just like anything Deadpool, was pretty spot on. Now we get to what I kind of felt was our top 3 games, the ones that I think that are going to be the most fun to play. And then we have the one big fucking stinker of all of it, the one that kind of pissed me off, if I'm being honest. So the top 3 games, in no particular order, is Directive 8020. This looked so unique and so creepy. The fact that it's a survival game that will allow you to be able to choose your own path and decisions throughout the game. I love those kind of story arcs, like Detroit Become Human. Like games like that. I think that they're a lot of fun, and I think they're unique. And when they're done well, they're some of my favorite games to play. But when watching the trailer and watching the behind the scenes and stuff for it, one of the things that they had talked about was in this game, you actually have the ability to see how your other paths would have went, and there are going to be turning points in the game where you can go back and remake decisions to see how the game plays out. I love that, because I am not the kind of guy who replays a lot of games. So once I finish it, even if there were 9,000 decisions I could have made, and could have made different for a different outcome, I just don't feel the desire to go back and replay it. But if you give me an opportunity in the moment to see what another decision could have been and how that story could have played out, I love that concept. So I think that this one is going to be a lot of fun. I know very little, obviously, about what they're doing and what's going on in it, but I think from just the trailer standpoint, it looks intriguing, it looks exciting, and I'm super ready to be able to play this. So Directive 8020, check out the story trailer online right now. The second game that I'm just really excited about is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This is very old school side scroll type game, 2D dimensional. It has a very interesting team up with She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon. Now you can see from the title card at the end of it that there's going to be other characters in there, obviously. You see like Nova in the background. There's also Captain America. I think Venom was in there too. Maybe Captain Marvel. So obviously you're going to meet some other Marvel characters in this. But no one was asking for a She-Hulk Rocket Raccoon game. And this looked like it would be a lot of fun. I think almost like a mind-numbing type of fun. I think this is this kind of game where if you come home from a long day at work and you're tired and exhausted and you don't want to think about anything, you can just turn this game on and just kind of block out the world for a little bit. So, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, definitely at the top of my list. Nothing wrong with a mind-numbing game. I thought it was, I thought it looked like a lot of fun. And then lastly, for me, Arc Raiders. This is now my most anticipated game coming out. I think that everything about it I loved, from the color design of the graphics to the world design that they live in to the character designs and kind of what little bit we get to see about who our characters are in this game. I felt like it was a cross between like Grand Theft Auto and, if you remember the old movie Starship Troopers, like this looks like it's going to be a shit ton of fun. And again, I know that this is kind of a small detail, but the color palette of the game and graphics give me kind of a retro vibe to it. And for me, I'm big on those kind of aesthetics. Like, I want something different. I don't want to see Fortnite all over my fucking screen, right? Like, I want to see uniqueness. I want to see depth, and I want to see thought into the world that you're building. And I felt like this delivered on that. So for all the trailers that came through, this one is my most anticipated game on release. And again, a couple more highlights, like Mind's Eye I'll play when it comes out. Atomic Heart 2 looked weird and bonkers. I thought that the Chronicles Medieval game looked like a lot of fun. And then, of course, I already said it. Maybe was what was, could have been my favorite in between that and the Arc Raiders. Was the Echoes of the End. I think that looks like a lot of fun. So I was pleasantly surprised for the games that got trailers released. And I'm stupid excited for all of them to come out. Except I saw the trailer for Madden 26 and NCAA College Football 26. And I mean this with as much sincerity as I can possibly give. Fuck you, EA Sports. I continue to give you my money year in and year out. And when you brought back college football 2025, I was stupid excited. Because I remember as a kid playing college sports on my earlier PlayStation consoles, and just loving the fact that you could build your dynasty, that you could go through, and obviously now with the My Player experience or whatever. I know that's not what it's called because that's 2K, but you know what I'm saying, where you could, I think it was like the Heisman experience or whatever it was called. I was really looking forward to college football 2025 until I played it, and then realized that it's nothing but just copying and paste on every single aspect of the game. And the fact that you were fortunate enough to have a monopoly on football is telling of the fact of how little you care about the quality of the football game that comes out. They're always the same. It's copy and paste year in, year out, and that's always a running joke with Madden. But it's clearly going to be the same thing for college football 2006, or 2026, excuse me. I think Madden 26 looks just like Madden 25, that look like Madden 24, that look like Madden 23. And I just think I'm done giving you my money. And that makes me sad because I enjoy playing your football games. But they're boring. I enjoy, like, the actual gameplay itself is good. Like, EA Sports, you do great at the actual gameplay itself. But for the Dynasty mode, for the, being able to kind of build your own team, franchise mode, that's what I'm looking for, it's all the same. And then you also do these, like, Madden cards, and I know that's popular. I mean, you wouldn't do it if people didn't like it, but, like, collecting the in-game cards and stuff, that's just not for me. And so, although, again, I can appreciate your business acumen and getting yourself this monopoly with football, and not allowing anyone else to be able to create football games, I think it allows you and justifies you putting out shit content and games every year in and year out. And I think I'm done. Giving you my money. So, aside from that, and also, like, your other games aren't good either. So, the Star Wars game, what is it? The Jedi Survivor. Like, I'm done with EA Sports. I need to go cancel my EA Sports subscription. So, I think I'm done with EA Sports. And with all the games that we have coming out, I think that I'm not going to miss EA Sports. So, just to recap, the trailers that caught my attention: Mind's Eye, Atomic Heart 2, Echoes of the End, Pragmata, 007, Wu Chang, Chronicles, The Cube, Deadpool VR, but the Directive 8020, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, and Arc Raiders. So, what caught your attention? Was there any games that I didn't have listed? Anything that you thought was great and that you're excited about? I'd love to be able to hear them in the comments don't hesitate. Drop them in. I want to hear all about your fandom. Just remember that life is too short for people to hate on you for what you love. If EA Sports would love making football games, I wouldn't hate on them so much. So, until then, not buying your games no more. Alright, here's where we're moving into all the random shit that's in between your life and your fandom. And I have a couple of stories today, and both of them, I know this has kind of been a ranting video here, but I think both of these stories deserve a good rant. So, in the world of random shit, this week, AMC announced that they are going to add additional commercials to the pre-movie experience that you get when you're coming into the theater, including one that is supposedly going to air directly before your movie starts. I'm on Hollywood Reporter here. I'm going to read you what they have. While AMC was initially reluctant to bring this to the theaters, to our theaters, our competitors have fully participated for more than 5 years without any direct impact to their attendance, AMC said in a statement according to the Hollywood Reporter. This is a strong indication that this NCM pre-show initiative, which is the company that they're using to do these commercials, does not negatively influence movie-going habits. The deal is a win-win for both AMC and NCM, as it serves as an opportunity for each company to earn back some of the revenue that was lost during the pandemic, when all the theaters were shut down. For the past 5 years, AMC has sought out crucial revenue that is not reliant on the increase of base ticket prices, said the rep to AMC, from AMC to Deadline. We've done this through more and better movie-going enhancements, like specific expansion of PLFs, a greater selection of food and beverage offerings, and the introduction of movie-going merchandise like popcorn buckets and other collectible concession vessels. Here's some of the feedback from some of their AMC customers. I show up to every movie 30 minutes after the start time, and it's always exactly when the movie's going to start. That's already excessive, said one person. Another person on a grumpy ex-user wrote, how could they possibly run more? And then lastly, you had here, geez, great. So more people will arrive 30 minutes after the start time, and then climb over other people in the dark at the beginning of the film to avoid the trailers and additional ads. This is why I treasure my aisle seat. I will be arriving much later now. And then lastly, a person here commented very unhappily saying, glad my area only has Regal. Listen, I am an individual who has spent the last 15, 20 years of his professional career working in business management. And every time I've ever gone into a place of business that I've worked at, and I thought, okay, how do we increase revenue? How do we build on sales? How do we drive more business? I always look at, first and foremost, the customer experience. How does a customer feel walking into our place of establishment? How well is the customer greeted? What does the engagement look like? And then I look at, what does our product look like? Are we merchandised well? Is it easy to shop? Is it convenient? Right now I work at a food establishment, so is our food quality good? Is it something that we're proud of? And I have never once thought to myself, well, if we want to increase revenue, we should really look at raising our prices. And so I applaud AMC for saying, hey, we don't want to raise our base ticket price. That's the one thing we don't want to do. But we do need to make more money. And that is understandable. Look, your theaters were shut down for months and months and months during the pandemic. You are 4 years removed from the end of that pandemic, and you're still struggling to bring customers back into the theater who trust you and want to spend their money with you. So I understand that you need to not only recoup the money you lost, but you also need to continue to drive sales and build on sales. Like, that's understandable. That's business. I get it. But although you talk about the concessions aspect of it, providing more variety, which I don't know. It's questionable. Um, Providing things like collectible popcorn buckets and things like that, which I think those are great. Keep doing that. I'm probably going to buy your Galactus head popcorn bucket when I go see Fantastic Four. So keep doing those things. But not once in your statement did you ever talk about trying to enhance the customer experience by trying to recoup revenue by getting more people into the theaters more often. Because I think right now people are heading to the theaters for the big tentpole events, but no one's going to the theater on a regular basis when there's not a new Marvel movie out, or there's not a new Star Wars movie out, which hasn't been for a while, but or when there's not a craze for like Minecraft or Barbie or Oppenheimer or some of these big feature films. Like the first of 2025 was a bust for you because people didn't want to go to the theaters because not only is it expensive, which I think we as movie-going audience have shown that we're okay with. We're okay with expensive. We're okay with spending money in your establishment, and we are okay with understanding that buying concessions is part of it. It's how you keep your doors open. It's how you make your money. And although there's people who sneak shit in, I think for the most part, a lot of people buy it from your concessions. But you are blind to the fact that when you do silly shit like this, it just does nothing but creates an inconvenience for the customer, and they don't want to come back. They don't want to return. I love going to the movies, but I will tell you that there is a hassle to go into your theaters. And not only that, but there is a culture in your theaters of just shitty service. That's why when I order from the concessions, I order from your app because I don't want to talk to your people. That's why when I book my tickets, I book through the app. One, because I have A-list, but two, I don't want to talk to anybody, right? And most people book online now anyways, but there is nothing special about the engagement of your employees in your establishment. So not only do you want me to go to a place where you make it feel like you don't care that I'm there, but you're going to say, hey, come to our 7 p.m. showing of Fantastic Four. Be excited. You're going to be a part of the fan event. You're going to get a keychain, which, thank you. I have plenty of keychains here from your fan events. But you're going to make it so that when I'm in your theater, I feel unwelcomed. And then I've got to sit through more commercials and probably potentially movie trailers that it's going to make me exhausted before I even get to the reason why I'm there, and that's the movie. I've heard a lot of commentators talk about some of the shit in your theaters, and so I'm not saying anything you haven't heard yet. But what I am telling you is that you don't need to spend the money on creating additional commercials for your theaters and hope to recoup cost and revenue. You need someone to focus on your customer engagement. You need someone to focus on bringing people back to the theater. And I'm sure you have that person. And I'm telling you it's not working. I'm not that person either, so I'm not hunting for a job here. But I am telling you, as someone who has spent 20 years in customer service, and as someone who can actively tell you that the reason why customers are leaving retail is not because of Amazon. It's not because of 2-day shipping. It's not even about the convenience of being able to order online. It's because they're sick and tired of dealing with the inconvenience of shopping in person. Whether it's customer engagement, hell, when you go to any retailer now, they want you to fill out a fucking survey before you can finish your transaction on that stupid fucking keypad. Don't focus on creating additional revenue by shitting on your customers. This is a silly idea. And the person who said, yeah, people are going to continue to show up later and later, they're right. They are 100% right. Which is not only going to frustrate the customers who did show up on time for the movie, but it's going to also frustrate the individuals who are looking for their seats, and they're just going to realize, you know what? In 90 days, the movie will be on streaming. AMC, this is not the way you go about your business. I think that this is silly, and I think that you are, when you say our competitors have done this 5 years now, and it has not had any negative impact on their customer base. That's, first of all, that's a lie. People aren't going to the movies as much as they used to. But not only that, there is one thing I will tell you that really impresses me about certain businesses, and those are the ones that feel like we are the standard in our industry, and we are going to do our thing, and we're going to run our race, and if other people want to follow suit, that's great. Fine. Join us. But they set the bar. You're following. And you're following people who aren't as successful as you, which makes absolutely no sense. So, with all the love and respect for your theaters, you're putting your money towards the wrong thing. It's just silly. The second story that I have for you, in the world of all the random shit, is this week, the Switch 2 released. Do I have one? Absolutely not, because I was not prepared to spend $600 on it. However, I am very much happy for the people who have them. I envy you, except for the select few customers that went to GameStop in Staten Island and had their receipt stapled to the front of their box, which ultimately went on to puncture their screen. According to PCGamer.com, a GameStop store has reportedly been stapling customer receipts to the Switch 2 boxes and puncturing holes in their screen. I'll read you what it says here. In news to make your teeth itch, a GameStop store in Staten Island has reportedly been stapling receipts to boxes containing brand spanking new Switch 2 consoles. Ordinarily, this wouldn't be much of an issue, but thanks to the lack of protection between the outer layer and the LCD screen inside, midnight launch attendees at this particular store have complained that some of their Switch purchases have ended up with holes punctured into the screen. According to Waro64 on X, they showed some pictures of their screen and how it was punctured by the staple that went into it. And so, here's the thing, is the entire internet is shitting on GameStop. And trust me, you deserve it, because you used to be amazing. And honestly, the downfall of GameStop is not necessarily just on GameStop themselves. It's consoles like PlayStation and Xbox going remotely or strictly digital in their upcoming platforms. It's the fact that going into a game store just doesn't have the same convenience that it did before, right? Now, you've done some really silly business practices, and to be honest, GameStop, if I could go back in time 15 years and start my retail career, I wish I would have got a job at GameStop. I loved GameStop. And now, GameStop is just, I mean, it's got to be hanging by the skin of their teeth, right? Like, they are not, like people would much rather, it's so much more convenient for me to go out there on my PlayStation 5 and buy a game digitally, and then in 3 minutes let it download and I have it, right? But I will tell you, again, with like a lot of other retailers, the customer engagement, customer service at GameStop is non-existent, right? And then, that's not fair. I've been in some GameStops where they've been really good, but when I went to go buy the first Switch, I didn't know a lot about it. And I was in a GameStop in Little Rock, Arkansas, where my wife and I were living. And I didn't know a lot about the Switch, and so I didn't quite know what to get and what I needed for it. I didn't know if the SD card had to be a Nintendo SD card, if it could be just anyone, whatever, right? So I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm in the store, and I'm gonna spend, $500, $600, $700 because I want to buy several games. I want to buy the Switch, and the guy in the behind the counter This was like an hour before they closed. So it wasn't like I was in there like 5 minutes before they closed. The guy behind the counter couldn't give two shits about why I was there. And every time I asked a question, audibly sighed at me for having to help me. So after I gathered everything up, I realized I don't want to spend my money here. I'll go to Best Buy. I'll go anywhere else. I'll wait and do whatever. I'm not going to spend my money in this retailer. So I told him to put it all back. Said that I had no interest whatsoever in purchasing from them, and that honestly, I'm going to take my money elsewhere because of the service that I got. I'm not a Karen, right? I didn't make a big fuss about it. I just let them know why I wasn't spending my money with them. I left, and I'm not sure how the store manager got my number. I'm sure it's through my game membership or whatever. But the store manager ended up calling me about 10 minutes after I left and apologized for the behavior of his employee. And which I appreciated. And I went back the next day and ended up buying from that retailer, from that GameStop with the manager there. But I, for years, have known that GameStop is dying. And the sad part about this is that I don't think this is... There's one thing that's on the GameStop, but I don't think the whole thing is on now. Everyone's pointing at GameStop saying, oh, look at this, like they failed again, right? Why, Nintendo, would you not have more of a protective layer in between the top of your box and the screen to your console? I think from the pictures I've seen, the packaging looks a little bit ridiculous, if I'm being honest. And, I mean, because there are some stupid people who open boxes like in retail establishments with true box knives and things like that. And if you've ever worked retail, I'm sure you've done that, where you've cut open the product on accident. If a staple could puncture the screen, could you imagine if someone had opened the box they came in with a box knife and just slit right across the top of the gaming console? So people who are shitting on GameStop for that, it really wasn't their fault. Like, Nintendo should have done better. Listen, Nintendo, if you need advice, send me a Switch 2. I will review your packaging, and I will make sure that, we do everything we can for the release of the Switch 3 to make sure this doesn't happen again. And if that means that I have to keep the Switch 2 as payment, I'm okay with that. I'll even buy my own video games. Just send me the console. But that wasn't on GameStop. What I will say is on GameStop is, as a collector, there are too many retailers who don't care about the box and the packaging. And so if I was someone who was buying that Switch 2 and wanted to keep the box and wanted to keep it in good condition, then I would have been mad that you punctured the box with a staple. It was an accident, clearly. I don't think anyone was doing it intentionally, but GameStop, like, what are we doing? And I think that your practices are what led to the entire internet blaming you for this. Even in this article, it talks about specifically how GameStop, how they're attaching their receipts are causing damage, and not a single word about the fact that Nintendo really kind of gave shitty packaging, other than this one line here that does say, thanks to a lack of protection between the outer layer and LCD screen inside, the midnight launches ended up having people with punctured screens, right? But never once did it say anything putting fault and blame on Nintendo. So, I don't know. It seemed kind of ridiculous to me that you would staple the receipt in the first place. But with that being said, it kind of even seemed more ridiculous to me that everyone was blaming GameStop and no one thought twice about Nintendo and the way they packaged it. It just seemed a little odd. So, listen, guys, I've been going off for an hour now, probably, and very video game heavy for this podcast. I do want to say, even though I was probably more negative than I have ever been in any of my episodes, I want to circle back, and I want to thank all the people who gave all the positive comments to Scarlett's cosplay. I want to thank all the people who were there to support her and to make her feel proud about what she did and her art. I want to thank all the great video game makers who dropped some tremendous trailers and have me truly excited for the next year of video gaming, except EA Sports. And lastly, I just want to encourage AMC Theaters and GameStop, keep your head up, try to do what's best for the customer, and hopefully all this awkward shit's behind you. So remember, guys, always love all the awkward moments in between life and death. Thank you for being here. And also remember to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff with my channel. I appreciate it very much. So I will see you guys next time at the same Batman Drew time on the same Batman Drew channel. Alright guys, you know how I love my post-credit scenes of talking about what's to come. I'm starting a new series this week. It is called The Collector on a Budget. And basically what I'm doing is I love to be able to show what items that I have in my collection, but I also want to be able to follow others who have a collection of their own and talk about how they got in that collection, and more importantly, how to be able to afford that collection. Because in this economic world, we're all struggling. Well, not all of us. There are some people with a lot of money, and if you want to sponsor this show, I'll be more than happy to let you. But for the most of us, we're on a budget, right? And I want to talk about all the cool ways we've been able to find things to add to our collection on the cheap and be able to show off some of the things that we own. So look forward to that. Be on the lookout for that first episode to drop this week, guys. Thanks.